Hey, and welcome back to another video of Immersive Worlds channel. We are back in Osaka, and today I am in Dandan Town, and I am exploring this interesting district. I just actually came from the Namba station and Namba City, which is a really cool mall, and actually got a pretty cool shirt. I'll show it to you at some point. Very cool looking, yeah, hard to describe, but a pop culture shirt. So speaking of pop culture, we are here and we are searching for all things pop culture. I heard this is your one-stop shop for everything related to video games, pop culture, anime, Pokemon, even some of these maid cafes, as you can see here. And we're just gonna check things out. I'm also very interested in the crane arcades, as we see back here, and almost everywhere you look there is something vibrant and interesting. Almost looks like we've got a storm coming in. I haven't had any rain yet in Osaka, so I have no particular way of approaching this part of Osaka, so we're just going to kind of explore and see what we find and just give you a walking tour. As you know, with the crane machines, they are like everywhere. They're actually not everywhere, but they're pretty common, it seems to me, and certainly in areas where you have more pop culture, I think you're going to see even more of them. It seems to be the case. And I will say, I didn't do a video on Osaka Namba City. It was super cool, but sometimes, I just need a break from recording videos. So I kind of just explored and used it to cool down. It was only 3 stops from my hotel train station, the station very near the Nipponbashi station, very near the hotel. And so just trying to sometimes enjoy the sights and not record them. Vending machines, lots of coffee and so forth. I bet you're going to find a lot of great food here as well. I went to a Hawaiian restaurant for lunch in the Namba City Mall. It was a very nice mall. And as I said, incredibly cool mall, and was able to cool down significantly. We see signs for a lot of these maid cafes, the themed cafes. Have no idea what we have here. It looks like maybe electronics. Adult toys. Probably going to get just a bit of everything. So this is kind of what I expected. A lot of figures, action figures, Dragon Ball, you name it. I'm probably going to see a lot of that here. And looks like maybe a gaming place. And this is kind of interesting. It looks like maybe what we would call a hobby store. It has all kinds of miniatures and so forth, plastic figures, and it's like 5 floors of that. So definitely, radio controlled toys, all that kind of stuff. Definitely a lot of, pop culture mania here for sure. Oh wow, look at the Mechagodzilla from 1975. Wow. And it's selling for, wow, 50,000 yen. These are like vintage, very special. Yeah, I mean, some of these are Godzilla vintage, very, very special stuff. So, wow. Yeah, if you're into Godzilla, which I kind of am, not into collecting, but to the movies, and the last 2, Godzilla Zero and Shin Godzilla, were absolutely amazing films. One winning the Academy Award for effects. I was so happy to see that. We're going to cross here. And just everywhere you look, I mean, again, I don't really have a plan here, but I was told this is the district to explore for pop culture. And this is fairly, you know, it's a 94-degree day, and of course the humidity that we expect in Osaka. But I have to say today, at least with the shade-covered awnings here, we're feeling pretty good as far as avoiding some of that mega heat, the 94 degrees of it. And, you know, my trip into Namba City was certainly to try to, looks like some new construction going on here, was to try to avoid just some of the heat. This looks like maybe stuff for paintball and so forth type store. And I think we'll make an executive decision at some point and maybe flip back around and go back the other way. And then as we get more into that kind of central area, it feels like that's more hustling and bustling. Maybe there is where we're going to encounter some of the interesting anime shops, vintage shops as well. Maybe some of the stuff that we saw at America Maru, which was real cool. Love that district. It just had a hip vibe to it, you know, like a, oh, I don't know, New York sort of NYU vibe or Portland vibe, something of that nature. See a lot of electronics store here, and I don't know, just about everything in between. Vegan bao. So I think what we'll do is we're going to go back the other way because we're running short on pop culture here. I mean, we're not running short on it, but I think that's what we're going to do for this next round is let's go back the other way and check things out. And so we were on that other side of the street there, and we're going to go this way and just see what we can find, maybe including on some of the side streets. Certainly starting to feel that humidity for the day. But you never maybe get a chance to explore a city as much as you do when you're traveling, if you're on vacation or even on work sometimes. If you're here, it looks like a nice hotel. I think one of the cool things to do in Osaka, and certainly on this trip, even though it's been 2 weeks, I don't feel as if it's been a very long trip. But, you know, a good amount of time to explore things. Yesterday, my wife and I had a very lovely meal, traditional Japanese family meal at her host sister's house, former house, childhood house, with their lovely father. Oh, the air feels so good in there. And so it was cool to see that and to do something that was very like non-tourist in nature. A lot of iPhone, cell phone stuff here, so electronics. This is not the electronics district per se of Osaka, but we have a lot of opportunities if you're looking for cell phones or accessories or cell phone cases to find them here. But yeah, in any case, I think it's a fun opportunity when you travel, maybe to stay in different parts of the city, and maybe each time if you come back to a place. It's not practical when you're in a city, I think, to, here's another Maid Cafe advertisement. It's not practical necessarily. You see some more of the manga, Gundam, I'm forgetting. I don't know a lot of Japanese pop culture. Apologies. But you know, it's not practical necessarily to stay in different hotels and parts of the city when you're visiting, but you could always visit a second time and stay in a different district. like to me, Namba would be interesting. And there's a famous place, Namba Bears, here in Osaka that is a punk kind of underground club, very small. Don't think I'll make a show this time around. I've really been trying to focus on the expo and expo evenings as opposed to going during the day where it's so hot. But you know, there's a red light and I am not going to break the rules. I'm going to follow them. I love in Japan, you know, the rules about queuing and waiting for lights. Sometimes in a lot of American cities, you know, people run lights and there's a disastrous, you know, consequences. I think we underplay, you know, traffic fatalities, but it definitely happens. So let's see here. We have, I don't know what this is. Licensed merchandise. Oh, okay. So we've got a lot of the merchandise of, say, Dune, Elden Ring, Warhammer. Warhammer is, of course, very, very popular. And you can just see some of that here. It almost looks like a shrine to popular culture. You see this kind of merchandise in the case, and it shows you just how serious collectible culture is, you know. You saw those Godzilla figurines just back there. The vintage ones, and certainly those were worth quite a bit of money. I don't know if that was like $500 or $1,000, but quite a bit of money. And so, oh, this is kind of cool. Just light bulbs. I just kind of love seeing vintage stuff like this. Just all the various. It looks to be. These are types of wire. Very interesting. So, you know, I think if you wanted to learn a little bit about a culture, you could even study something like, you know, wire gauge and just get a sense of how things are different. Of course, when we travel, we're familiar with having adapters. There's a pretty simple adapter if you're traveling from, say, the States to Japan. Basically, that grounded plug that we have, they don't have any 3-prong that I've seen, but the 2-prong in United States, the States, you have a, look at the giant, next to Kids Land figure. We got some graffiti here, as you see, empty lot, large building. I don't know if that's condos or what, but it's a pretty easy adapter that you can get here for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a interesting reflection of culture as well. Sorry. Didn't see me with the cell phone. Some things are like the States, certainly. People are on their phones and don't notice you. Yeah, some more kind of pop culture accoutrements here as we travel. Just going to start checking a little bit here for some of the side streets to see where we might find the most interesting shops. I haven't seen like a mega crane store or arcade. I've seen smaller ones, but I've been kind of curious to see if we can find, here's belts, so maybe vintage clothes, not entirely sure. Panasonic store on the left, and high-end speaker store here on the right, looks like. You know, that's kind of a thing in Japan, certainly, is high-end, oh, those look good. Lunch sets, high-end audiophile culture. And there's a lot of discussion of it online, certainly, across the world, where people ask questions like, you know, do you really get, you know, the level of fidelity that you think you get? Here's the at-home cafe. As you can see here, English menu. Oh, interesting. So they have a service fee. Just looking how it works, it looks like you have to pay an extra $7.80, and you have to have one drink in addition to the admission fee. And I've heard a lot about maid cafes and kind of that culture. Cigarette machine, haven't seen that yet. And I don't know, it's not necessarily something on my list to do, but I am into themed cafes. Here actually is a crane shop, so kind of cool to see. People aren't playing, and I'm not going to play necessarily at the moment, but there's a few blogs online I've seen. There's a YouTube channel with a gentleman who tries to go throughout an entire day and tries to buy his... No? Okay.
No.
Okay, bye-bye. So sorry. Did not know. No sign at door. So sorry. No sign at door. Yeah, there's no sign at the door there. That was my first camera encounter in Osaka. It's fine. I get it. You know, I've had so many interesting camera encounters in my life, as you may have heard about. Been kicked out, accosted by security, mostly in the United States, actually, in San Diego, downtown Disney, and SoCal. Just saying one thing, it'd be easier if you knew going into a store if you couldn't take a video or not. Just saying, yeah, it'd be easier, I guess. But maybe I'll stick to the outside and then I won't get into any trouble taking photos. Get some graffiti here on the left of the building. It maybe looks a little more like Europe in that sense. Here's more, it looks like collectibles. Again, we won't try to go in and get into any trouble for photographing or taking video. Videographers cannot get a break. It's interesting, some of the big YouTube videographers, and I am not one of those, you know, the folks that have millions of views and go over all over the world, Japan, Europe, Australia, Papua New Guinea, you name it. They often encounter, not from storefronts, but if they're in really tricky or sketchy area of a city, you know, so let's say you go to, you know, Frankfurt, where I've been a few times when I lived in Germany, and you go to a train station or an area where there could be Hamburg's another city in Germany that comes to mind, kind of in the center, where people might be doing illicit things in the open, you know, without repercussion from police or anything. Looks like a gelato coffee place. And what's interesting about it is sometimes it's the locals that are sort of confronting those videographers and saying, don't film here. And in a couple cases, you know, I've seen on videos where people actually try to grab cameras and so forth. I mean, the gentleman, and that was probably the most, I don't want to say aggressive, but upfront kind of behavior, where he just kind of put his, I'm glad he didn't touch the lens because he would have gotten smeared. But that was probably the most, you know, kind of upfront, you know, confrontation I guess I've experienced. Yeah, and I kind of get it. I certainly do. I get it. If you run a store, sometimes you don't want photography. You know, I wonder if there's a thing actually that in crane culture you can, if there's such a thing, crane arcade culture, if there is such a thing. I wonder if there is a thing related to, they don't want people doing video because you could learn strategy. That actually could be, you know, we have that in the States, certainly in Vegas, table game areas typically. I don't think they care so much if you film in the slot machine areas. And I was just thinking of the film that is kind of a tale about the guy who kind of scammed back in the 80s, the Press Your Luck game show. And of course he did that. If you've seen the movie, you know I'm talking about that, by videotaping the show and then determining patterns. So maybe in retrospect, the aggressive response is more related to the idea that if you do any videos, you might discover strategies that would allow you to win and do better at the crane games. I'm not entirely sure. So we're going to cross back one more time and then go down a few side streets. The humidity is definitely becoming prominent as I'm now directly in the sun. Been doing a motion video loop project, and I just recorded in front of it appeared to be a security camera store. They had some really cool flashing lights, and I recorded it without being accosted. I'm happy to say. Was a radio tower right there? It's kind of interesting. So we're just wandering down a side street, and I think, you know, you can tell me online if in comments if I missed, but it seems like I hit the main district there of Dendan Town, and I was trying to, look for a few more. I heard a lot about like maybe vintage audio stores and so forth. I didn't really see any of those, so maybe I just missed them. Now, we haven't been down this boulevard. I think I was here. I recognize maybe the Family Mart is where I came from. I think let's head this way. And then eventually, I know kind of a landmark here is the Swiss Hotel. Back there, I saw that from Namba City. I am directly in the sunlight, so it's not the best street to be on. Just because I am so warm. I'm seeing many more vending machines. In fact, check that out. That is a sriracha vending machine. Actually, I've never seen a sriracha vending machine in my life. And sriracha, at least in the States, is kind of... it's very popular, but one thing about sriracha is that they don't do a lot of advertising. So it's amazing to even see a sriracha vending machine. Love Point. Not exactly sure what Love Point is. You definitely see in this district, like with the Maid Cafe, you see somewhat, kind of a bit sexualized, I guess, culture that you note. Maybe as we head down here, we're going to see more interesting shops, and we certainly saw a lot of interesting shops. And there's a vibrancy to the district. There's also just kind of mostly mopeds I see here and bikes, non-motorized bikes, but you just have to kind of watch where you're headed. We've got a lot of cafes here, a lot of small restaurants. Here maybe is another, not crane arcade, but prize, what do you call these, where you put money in and get a little plastic prize. And there's a Warhammer and comics there. So this is kind of more what I was thinking this region would be. So indeed, it must extend outwards to some of the other streets as well. Warhammer is very popular. I love the streets in Osaka. There's a real charm. You get some real narrow streets like you do maybe in London or in Austria and towns like Badose, these really narrow kind of streets. Gourmet coffee shop. I think I saw that. It must be a chain. I've seen that elsewhere in the city. More food to discover. One of the coolest things I think about any travel, I'm just going to take a peek down here. Again, I am not familiar. I don't have my GPS out, so I'm not going to try to narrate to you which streets we're on, but you will likely recognize. Here's another crane arcade. We're not going to film inside. The last one, I was told quite clearly that I was not to film. So, quick, value, and tasty. But yeah, I think I've talked in quite a few of these videos as I've traveled and you've watched these about how you can really enjoy going into a city and not sort of enforcing your own rules, not doing the things that maybe, quote unquote, you should do in a city. Of course, in the study of urbanism, there's a huge literature on exploration, the theory of the flaneur, a lot, say in Parisian traditions, Walter Benjamin, the arcades. And here's another crane store and video game place, Namco. I saw one of these actually in a similar arcade in the Namba City. Just, and a lot of places, by the way, you see escalators, the malls, the metro stations, you can get lost for days. You literally could just get lost wandering. And again, these are the machines I was talking about here, and you see more A crane arcade. Very vibrant area here. Looks like a sign store. Would actually love to go in there and get some motion videos, but I'm a little hesitant, I guess, after what happened. Pork Cutlet, that's a chain. There's one of those near the hotel we're staying at. But again, you know, I think if you play the role of the flaneur, you wander, you travel through a city, you appreciate the sights, the sounds, the smells. You try to take in everything. Here is Magic Fantasy Cafe and Restaurant. So again, you see, we're gonna have to go down here. Looks very interesting, looks very evocative. Let's wait for the traffic to clear. There is Namba City. It's a kind of landmark where I came from, the metro station. Thank you so much. Arigato. Domo arigato gozaimasu. Expo. I love how during Expo for the 6 months, Osaka has thoroughly themed the city. Most restaurants I go in, look at this, a food store. How amazing. How amazing. Just look at all the vintage. This is interesting. But they've themed really the whole city for Expo. Oh, look, a sign store. You gotta love a sign store. I love it. All right. A little motion video. Little motion video here, folks. Just for the sake of my motion videos on Instagram. I do so little Insta that I've been trying to really do more this time around, and I downloaded, I forget the name of it, but a really cool app that lets you do pretty wild filters. But this is wonderful. Look at all the cooking items and paraphernalia, and there's even an escalator. It goes up on the second floor. This is kind of the highlight so far of what I've seen for today. Really just super fascinating. I've got to get one more motion video here, everyone. And you know what? Like a lot of things here, it's actually air conditioned, and so that is very much appreciated.
36. Yeah.
And let's get one photo for good measure. One of the things about having multiple, I'm hearing a sound here that's pretty interesting. It's here. Okay, so this is a knife store, and so it's the sound of someone doing the knife work. Oh, these are amazing. Look here, wow. Vintage, I don't know, new swords. Oh, absolutely marvelous. Wow. Katanas and everything, absolutely stunning. Wow. And again, all the cooking items and paraphernalia. Ooh, very cool. More knives here. So it seems like this has a culinary theme to it, doesn't it? From what we're seeing, we're getting some major. I mean, if you wanted to buy some cool dishware, actually, I love these. I absolutely love all these. Yeah, look at the teapots too. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Flatware, stoneware, absolutely lovely. Wow, this would be the place to come. And 600 yen per piece, so that seems fairly a good price. I think about, it reminds me if you go to, what's that place, World Market, where they sell similar stuff, but certainly not of that quality. Thank you so much. Thank you. Arigato. Here's more. Look, flatware. Whoa. Wow, some really beautiful chopsticks. Wow. And again, a lot of these have 2 floors. You wouldn't maybe see this in the States, where you have a second floor and kind of one of these smaller shops. More on this side. Absolutely cool. This is ice. Yeah, ice. Looks like for a slushy or Slurpee. Not a Slurpee, slushy. Yeah. Oh, look. All kinds of amazing stuff here. I didn't know this was going to be a culinary tour, but this, I think if you're in Osaka, you're seeing that this is the place. Look. Ah. Here's how to make your local, the famous delicacy, the amazing local Osaka octopus balls that we tried, and very, very high level of skills required, certainly to for me and my wife to turn them and to make them. But it's cool to see that. So now I have a better sense of what the little maker is like to make them on your own, because if you want to make them at home, I figured you need a special grill, and we see more of them here. So very, very much prevalent here. A little like hibachi grills in different types. Absolutely wonderful. A price. I'm not sure what A price is. It might be a grocery. Ah, is this lotus root? Perhaps this is lotus root. Tell me online. I think that's lotus root. Or could be a yam, but I know it's a similar look. I think lotus root might actually have a white skin. But really wonderful to see the local produce. And if we take a spin, hopefully I won't be... hopefully I will be allowed to film. But look at all the amazing produce. Look here. We sometimes get these type of mangoes in the States. Is this, perhaps this is the lotus root here. Yeah, I believe, because the inside is, sort of has those holes. So this is lotus root outside the husk or the shell, the skin. But yeah, enjoying the air as well. And one of the things, certainly for those of you traveling and exploring the world, a grocery store, anytime I've been to Europe, and by the way, the grapes here that we had yesterday at a traditional meal are so massive. The plums look amazing. I wanted to find some of the strawberries. I don't really have carrying my shirt along, but I don't have a setup to carry so much. But one of the things you can do, of course, is not just eat out at the restaurants, is you could cook on your own. Get a bento box, even if you're not in Japan, wherever you are, and enjoy some food, take it home, cook it if you have a kitchen, and just check out the local produce and everything of that nature, because it's part of exploring a city for sure. Just every alleyway here, we have wonderful things to discover. And coming along here, these appear to be, I've seen a lot of sign and light shops here in this part of Osaka. I love the cat there. Just a real charming, I feel a lot of times when you travel and you can just go to quaint side streets and so forth, you can really appreciate a local flair, and not always a non-tourist flair, of course, but you can really just see what the culture is like, what the people are like. I have an opportunity for another motion video, and I've been doing a lot today, by the way, so we're feeling pretty good about it. This is going to be a good one. And I usually do a filter later, but it's kind of fun if you can get some out of focus stuff. In this case, the cat's paw maybe coming in and out of focus, the people coming in and out of focus a little bit. And yeah, but when you travel, for sure, I think to try to just seek out small things, quiet things, hidden things, as a theme I would offer, having, I think, traveled a lot myself and having lived in a couple different countries and gone to a lot of cities around the world. It reminds me I need to do more of Asia. It really does, because I'm just enjoying everything about Japan. And I'm looking here. Is this an expo? No, maybe they have some confectionery, but been looking maybe for some expo souvenirs. My wife wanted one of those, like a postcard of the ring. If you've been to the expo or seen images of it, here's another street down here, wonderful signs. I think at night this would be definitely popping. But we wanted to get a postcard of the ring. And the ring at the expo, if you've seen my videos, I haven't done a lot on top of the ring, but 1.24 miles around. And one of the things I was thinking of, I'd have to do it at night just because of the humidity here, but I was thinking of the idea of doing a walk around the ring and maybe focusing on the interior so that you can get a sense of what it's like in case you don't get a chance to visit the expo yourself. I rarely walk directly into someone, but for some reason that person was walking directly into the camera. Again, all these little nooks and crannies, alleyways. Wonderful, wonderful food. Here we go. The takoyaki. Takoyaki is very famous here. Oh, and you see so many wonderful just places with food and just vibrant stories told through food. And I think expressed this in the videos I've done. A lot of snobs out there will say, let's take a left here and check things out. Claw Crane Arcade. Snobs are going to say, well, don't go to touristy areas in the city. If you're in Berlin, don't go to Checkpoint Charlie. But why not go to Checkpoint Charlie? You should visit the places you want to visit. And I would say if you're a student of culture and of space, you would want to see some of these more tourist spaces. So I think that sort of attitude, I was going to do a motion video there, but not quite, it's kind of a negative attitude. Here's more of the Expo 2025 theming that you see. They've done so much and way more. It's a very small claw arcade. Way more branding, I would say, than what they did in Milan in 2015. Wasn't as much, and so far I think I would give Expo 2025 the award, if you will, for more interesting stuff. Just more organized. It's certainly busier, I would say, than Milan, but I think Milan's main grounds, how they set the expo store up, was not necessarily, or the expo space up, was not necessarily as good as what we see here in Osaka. Oh, looks like a really big arcade here, maybe. A lot of loud music. This appears to be a mall. It looks like a maybe racing experience. And look, signs for beer, so even if you don't speak a local language, you can always find your way. I'm trying to see what might be up here. It looks like slot machines and pachinko places. Just about everything here. Places to eat. All kinds of things, and I suppose, yes, this would be considered touristy just by the looks of it, but there's still a lot of interesting things. And again, that culinary themed area was super impressive. So I think what we'll do, there's a strawberry mania place. That looks good if you like strawberries. I think we're going to go back this way, and let's take a left and explore a little more of the main strip. And then I think when we're done with that, we'll probably end this video here, hanging out in Denden Town and areas beyond, I suppose. That's very loud on the right. I will say it's that time of the day, maybe not a time, but a moment where I feel absolutely kind of just dripping in the humidity of the day. There's much more this way, I guess, just to be, quasi attentive. Let's go one more block down this way. Now I'm trying to remember which way it came from. I think, yeah, I feel like we took a left there, so let's just go down here and we'll double back and try to remember which way to go. Takoyaki again, a lot of places. Looks like playing off the Glicoman signage. You get a lot of these, for takoyaki, of course, the octopus, a lot of the over-the-top signs near the tower that you may have experienced if you watch my video on that. I think we can spin around again. We can explore any number of passageways, main streets, alleyways, and spend the better part of a day. But fun to see for sure what you can experience here in Nipponbashi. Revolving, here's a sign for a revolving sushi bar. This might be a good photo for a tourist type photo, I guess, yeah? There you go, the revolving sushi bar. When I was in London once, we tried a conveyor sushi bar, and it was not very good sushi. Yeah, one of the things that is great about sushi, right, is that it is fresh, and if you're going to have, oh, on the way back, I must get a video of that moving hot dog. I'm going to ask, though. I promise I will ask. The way the signs are here, it reminds me a little bit of this mall I often talk about in Singapore that has a kind of faux Hong Kong street with very vibrant signs and neon signs, flashing signs, exciting signs. Kind of has that vibe here, you know, I'm sure again at night and again down every alleyway and more to discover, but it has that that vibe. This is the first Burger King I've seen in all of Japan and Osaka. I've been to McDonald's, McDonald's, but have not seen as of yet until just now a Burger King. Street vendors, a little bit of street food. Someone just banged my bag. Sometimes people don't watch where they're going, especially if they're in a hurry. More places down here, and just a real lovely sort of, here's another street. Maybe we'll do one more. Let's see what this is here. It says walk, but walk where? I actually love when you are traveling and you can't entirely figure out exactly what particular things are. You know, it's just really kind of fun, I would say. It looks like shops and restaurants down there. Crane game across the street. A lot of cool signs. I think we're going to probably turn around just because of the heat, and you know, I'm feeling the air of that mall down here on the right, and it's almost tempting because it feels so nice. But I don't know if I want to do another one right now. I'm trying to decide after Denden Town, Nipponbashi or Nipponbashi area. I still struggle with the place names and finding my way around. Of course, I'm using my phone all the time, my GPS. But what I did was, that's maybe kind of handy for you if you want to do something like this, is I just open up my Google app for maps. And what I do, just to show you here, is I create a special private map that has all the places I want to visit in a particular city. And I can even keep these forever and then in the future come back to these. My Wi-Fi's are non-existent and cell signal's a little sparse, but this shows you some of the places I've kind of thought about visiting. So I like to do that because it serves two purposes. One is it helps you find everything, and if you use Google Maps or Apple or whatever map program you like, one of the neat things is it's gotten so good at giving you, and sorry about the music, it's a little loud, giving you train directions. And there's a couple tips there. We'll see if maybe I'll do a little short video on tips about trains in Osaka or Japan. Just so much to see here, as you can tell from just exploring. And I'm now disoriented. I'm forgetting which way we went. It seems like maybe we're parallel to the other main strip we were on with the culinary stuff. I'm not entirely sure. More crane arcade stuff. But so it helps you to get around, and the metro in particular is very easy. If you're in Osaka, you know, just pay attention to platform 1 or 2. You know, a lot of European cities kind of run on a different principle in terms of you more have to know a direction of with a city, which I think is much harder to navigate. But in Osaka, it's very easy. Platform 1 or 2 is what I've experienced. So easy to remember that. And then the second thing is it's checklists. So it's going to be very easy then for you to figure out, you kind of see here, more stuff everywhere we go. It's absolutely packed and busy. We're here on a weekday, on a Thursday, so very, very busy. People everywhere. And a lot of just stuff happening. But yeah, it's like a quasi checklist. It allows you to basically see what you want to visit and then kind of check that off your list after you do the visit. So I really like that aspect of using something like a Google Maps. It makes it much easier to remember where you want to go. And then as you see places or think of places or read about places, more crane games here, you can add those to Google Maps or Apple Maps or your favorite program. I forgot I was going to get that motion video of the guy and the hot dog, but maybe it's not worth going back to. Here's a store with snacks. So I think this is probably a decent place to end our video here in Denden Town, exploring all of the interesting places. Here's a very cool combination, if you will, of both the kind of modern and the traditional. And I believe, as in my last journey, I think Namba Station is there, so I should be able to get my metro back or to my next place. And I'm still trying to decide where I'll go next. So this will end this bit of tour of Denden Town here in Osaka. And I appreciate you listening as always, and happy travels.